Hello there everybody, I hope you are doing well and fine. This is Taj Joseph Ali, one of the English instructors at Sharawat Donation English Academy in Faisalabad. Thank you so much for watching this video about adjective clause. Today the date is Sunday, 12th of October 2025. I am so delighted to talk about adjective clause. Let me, before going to talk about adjective clause, as an example, it's markers, to talk about lesson objectives as the main part of the lesson plan. So throughout this topic of adjective clause, you will understand the clause itself. Second, you will understand about adjective clause and how it functions in the sentences. So, in addition to that, how can you apply the adjective clause in the sentences in your daily speaking? It's a very important function of adjective clause. Alright, so before going to talk about adjective clause, let me to explain you what's a clause. Clause is a group of words that's related to each other which contain a subject and also a verb. So we have two types of clauses. One is dependent clause and the second one is independent clause. So what is dependent clause? Dependent clause is a clause which can stand alone. It doesn't give a full meaning, but independent clause it can stand alone and it gives you a full meaning. For example, dependent clause, how can we show it an example? If it rains. So what does it mean? If it rains. So it doesn't give a full meaning. It is not a complete sentence. So, but independent clause, it gives you a complete meaning. For example, our teacher is coming today. So look at this sentence. It gives you a complete meaning and it can stand alone. Independent clause, okay? I have already talked about it. We have two types of clauses and I hope that you have learned many things throughout this topic. Alright, I have explained about clauses and its type. So we had two types of clauses, dependent clause and independent clause. Dependent clause can stand alone, but independent clause can complete the sentence. It gives a full meaning of the sentence. So now adjective clause. What's adjective clause? Adjective clause is a type of dependent clause which identifies or which recognizes the pronoun and noun in the sentence. So I have explained that adjective clause is a type of dependent clause. So it can't stand alone. We should establish independent clause for that to introduce the full meaning out of it. Okay? It's very important to understand the adjective clause is a type of dependent clause, not independent. So we should identify our adjective clause through three markers. What are those markers? So, first one is relative pronouns. Relative adjective is the second one. And the third one is relative adverbs. So, I'm going to talk about relative pronouns. There are four relative pronouns for this marker. Who, which, whom, that. So, who refers to people. Which refers to things and animals in the sentences. It identifies the things or animal. So, whom refers to people and that refers to people and things. Alright. So, I have established an example for who. Okay, I have established the example. For example, who. The example is the boy who is in front of me is my student. Here, the boy is the antecedent of the sentence. So, what's the antecedent? Antecedent Just it is a sentence which explains or introduces the noun and pronoun in the sentence. So the boy is the antecedent. Who is the our adjective clause here? Who is the marker? Who refers to the boy? Remember one thing that we can use any other markers. For example, we can use the boy which, because which refers to the thing, but here we establish our example based on another markers, that is boy. So the markers for that is who is the adjective clause, okay? Next, we are going to establish another example for which. So how can we establish an example? Here I am using a very brilliant example, for example, by whom. I am for which. Example, I use the phone which made in China. So the phone I use it made in China. Here I use the phone antecedent and which identifies as the adjective clause here. Okay, it introduces the adjective clause for us in this sentence. Whom. What's the difference between who and whom? Who comes as the subject of the verb, but whom comes as the subject of the object of the verb or object of the preposition. So, for example, I provide example for you about whom. The boy whom you meet is my brother. The boy whom you here is the adjective clause for the sentence. Okay? Alright, only one thing just left about relative pronouns to talk about, that is that. Okay? That. The car that she drives, is mine. Okay? Here, that identifies the adjective clause in the sentence. So, come to talk about relative adjective and how relative adjective describes how relative adjective can identify the adjective clause. Here we have only one identifier or one marker, which is whose. I can establish here an example for you. Example. I saw a man whose height is 2 meters. So I saw a man whose. So whose here identifies the relative adjective and it refers to a man, okay? It shows the possession or ownership in the sentence. Alright? So what about relative adverb and how that define the adjective clause? We have different types of markers. Here one is where and another is when. So as an example, where refers to the place and when refers to the time. Okay? So if I provide an example here, I can say, for example, the restaurant where we meet is is unique. Alright, the restaurant where? Where refers to what? Where refers to restaurant. Restaurant is a place. We can say we, but we provide example for this. We refers to time, and that at that time we can use we. For example, okay, so last year was the time we when we travel. So last year is the time when refers to the time. That means last year is the time when we meet or when we travel. Okay, that's an example for relative adverb. Thank you so much for watching this video, and hope you have learned many things about adjective clause and its markers. Thank you so much.